All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this year's Teacher Appreciation Night. My name is Bailey Passmore, and I'm the president of the Cuesta College chapter of Alpha Gamma Sigma. Thanks. Hi. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to share with you a little bit about Alpha Gamma Sigma and the purpose of our event tonight. Alpha Gamma Sigma is an academic honor society and service organization of the California community colleges. AGS members maintain a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or higher and perform at least 20 hours of volunteer service per semester to their college and to their local community. I would now like to introduce to you the other members of my executive cabinet in the order in which they'll be speaking. Kendra LaGillis, Secretary. ICC Representative Lupe Leone. Publicity Director Paul Whipp. Vice President of the San Luis Obispo County, Mauro Rodrigues. Activities Director Wei Shu. Historian Jenny Martinez. And Treasurer Valerie Philbin. There's one other officer who could not join us this evening, the Vice President for the North County campus, Kevin Kerrigan. All right, Teacher Appreciation Night has been a part of Cuesta College now for 6 years. It was proposed and brought to life by a previous executive cabinet and has since become an annual tradition for Alpha Gamma Sigma. Each year, we send out requests to our members, your students, asking them to nominate an instructor who has gone above and beyond expectations to influence their success here at Cuesta. The vetting process is always rigorous, and this year was no exception, with a total of 18 pages and 21 nominations. The 10 faculty and staff member we honor tonight exemplify the very best in teaching excellence. Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage our honored guest, Cuesta College Superintendent and President, Dr. Gilbert Stork.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this, and I get a little nervous when we got a row of students sitting behind me. But they all look nice, don't they? I didn't recognize some of them. Thank you very much, Alpha Gamma Sigma, for, first of all, inviting me, but also, more importantly, for taking the opportunity to honor faculty. You know, I started teaching here at Cuesta College in 1967, so this is my 50th anniversary this year, this academic year. And there's no greater award or sense of accomplishment than what I would get from students down the road, even today, when they come to me and they're now in their 60s. I say, boy, you look really old. And they say, no, you're a lot older, you know. But the impact that faculty have on students is lifelong. You know, when I interview full-time faculty for tenure-track positions, you know, one of the questions I ask them is, in contrast to me asking you as a faculty member, what makes you such a hot teacher? You know, it's a hard question to answer because you don't want to sound boastful, but you want to make sure you can articulate what it is that you do that's special. That's hard to put into words. So what I learned several years ago was to ask you, the faculty member, to think back of all the teachers you had from K-12 to community college to graduate school, and think of one or two that had the biggest impact on you as a student. And then tell me, what was it about that person that left you that impression? No one has ever thought more than 2 or 3 seconds before that zinger came to mind, and those faculty or anyone in this room right now can probably think of that person. that was so compelling that that's what you remember. You remember their name, you remember where you sat, you remember the way in which you were treated, how hard they were, how soft they were, how quickly they got the papers back, how caring they were, how much they were concerned about you as a person and not just a line item on a roll sheet. You know, faculty articulate that so well, and what that tells me is that's who they are going to be to their students and in their classroom. It's such a powerful message to me when I have to make that final decision, that sometimes I make the decision based on that response that I hear, that heartfelt response. That is the power, the long-lasting effect of a good teacher and an effective teacher. And I want to thank the students that have taken the time to nominate the faculty that are here tonight that are being honored, and for AGS to continue to promote the importance of giving feedback to faculty. Because it is one of the most challenging professions to be engaged in, because so many times you don't have the gratification of knowing the impact that you had on an individual, because they don't know it sometimes until 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years later, and they say, oh yeah, I remember what Mr. Leone was trying to tell me now. But unfortunately, Mr. Leone didn't hear that, you know. So once in a while we get that student who will come by or pick up the phone or send us a note or an email and say, I just want to say thank you. And you go, wow, you know, that's a wow moment for that teacher. That gives them that juice to continue doing what they're doing the next semester, the next year. So to the students, don't ever stop saying thank you or articulating the impact that teachers have on your lives. My impact player in my mind was my 6th grade teacher. I hated her. But I loved her. You understand what I'm saying? I hated her because she challenged me. And she made me do more than I really wanted to do, but as a result of that, I accomplished a lot more. And I love her for that. So, if you take anything away tonight, take away the concept that not only being a teacher or a student, every human being in here has an impact on another human being. So don't ever lose the power of your relationships, of changing lives. And so I want to again thank the students and thank Dr. Gilbert for continuing to promote such a wonderful organization. And to the honorees tonight, congratulations, job well done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Stork. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce again our secretary, Kendra LaGillis, who will present the first honoree.
Thank you, Bailey. Our first honoree is Miranda Canestro, who has been delayed. So I would like to ask the Dean of Math and Sciences, Dr. Jason Curtis, to join me on the stage to accept on Professor Canestro's behalf. Oh, come join us then. Come join me on stage. Professor Canestro teaches in the Cuesta College Biology Sciences Department. She's taught at Cuesta College for 9 years. There are many faculty members who are here tonight to be recognized for going above and beyond normal expectations as an instructor, and Professor Canestro is one of them. She makes learning very easy and has exceptional enthusiasm for her subject. A fellow AGS member recalled a time when she invited her students to a guided tour of the nature preserve on which she lives. It's not every day when you get a professor so enthusiastic that they are willing to open their own property to help students learn. The student also mentioned that towards the end of the semester, she brought cookies for the entire class. Okay, cookies and a field trip, what student could ask for more? I'm not sure if Professor Canestro knows this, but her enthusiasm really impacts her students. One of them said that she gave him an interest in the subject of biology that he never had before, just because of her enthusiastic attitude. He also added that she was always understanding and willing to help, which in turn made her students not intimidated to ask for that help. Aside from biology, he also learned to take an interest in courses he thought he wasn't interested in, all due to his experience of being her student. It's very evident that Professor Canestro deserves to be on the stage tonight. Please join me in honoring her on her instructional excellence.
Thank you so much. I feel really so flattered, and it's so nice to be appreciated. And I just feel so lucky that I get to come and do this job, and they actually want to pay me to have so much fun with students every week. You know, I just feel like biology is a big central part of my life, and it's super easy for me to get people enthusiastic, even though everybody in my class is taking it because they have to, not necessarily because they want to. So it really lights me up when I get the opportunity to hear a student tell me, you know, I really thought I didn't like science before I took this class, and it's actually not that bad. I might take some more biology. So I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to work with students, and I love being at Cuesta Community College. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations once again, Professor Canestro. I'd now like to invite AGS's ICC representative, Lupe Leone, to the stage.
Thank you, Kendra. I would like to ask Professor Downing to please join me on the stage. Professor Downing teaches in the Cuesta College Business Education Department. She has taught at Cuesta College for 16 years now. Ms. Downing's method of teaching is great. The way she helps make information stick to students is above and beyond. She assigns homework every weekend on McGraw-Hill LearnSmart, where students read and answer questions on the topic that she will be covering throughout the week. This introduces students to the subject and gets one familiar with any terminology. Then she spends the week teaching enthusiastically about the subjects and does a really good job with the flow of her lectures. She keeps students interested and can always crack a joke, all while making the information stick in a crystal clear manner. She is very good at breaking things down and helping you see things in perspective. At the end of the week, we go on McGraw-Hill and take an online quiz just to make sure that the knowledge stuck. Her form of teaching really makes it easier on the mind to remember it all. It is really comprehensible. She slows down and will even wait on moving on to the next chapter until people fully understand what it is that's going on. She does this by working out any homework problems that the class struggled with, or by breaking down her lectures with more depth. She does all of this while motivating students to progress in their chosen major. Whenever I needed some extra help in clarifying, I would visit an office hour, and her door was always open. Ms. Downing made me want to continue and pursue in my chosen career path because she showed me how something that seems boring and complicated can really be fun and easy to learn. One student wrote, "Ms. Downing was very thoughtful and considerate when my mother died. She gave me the best advice for how to deal with my classes. She provided lots of information, not only interesting to her class assignments, but also to real-life scenarios. She showed me how to balance my classes and how to be successful outside of school." This shows the care and support that Ms. Downing has to offer her students. Please join me in congratulating Professor Downing on her instructional excellence.
Thank you very much. You know, I was thinking about what I wanted to say tonight, and I got to thinking about my office. And in my office, I have a large corkboard on one wall. And about, I would say 12 years ago, a student had come throughout the semester to my office hours for help. And she really wanted to get into Cal Poly. And about a year later, there was this Post-it note stuck on my door to my office, and it said, "Hey, Mrs. Downing, I got into Cal Poly," and there was exclamation points and a happy face and her name. And that moment of joy, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget that, how important that is. So I stuck that sticky note onto that corkboard, and 12 years later, that corkboard is filled with these notes from students of their successes, and as much as maybe we do for them, they do equally as much for us. So this will definitely find a place on my corkboard. So I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now I'd like to welcome AGS Publicity Director, Paul Whipp.
Thank you, Lupe. At this time, I would like to welcome Professor Richard Goldsmith to the stage. Professor Goldsmith is with the Electronics and Electrical Technology Department, and he has been teaching at Cuesta College for 9 years, and he was nominated tonight by Daniel DeHam. I believe is here, but I'm not sure, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for the nomination. Dan's description of the assigned projects was actually why I was excited to give this speech. He described an AM light wave transmitter that turned sound into light and then back into sound using only an LED, and also a synthesizer where they made a synthesizer to play the first 4 notes of Smoke on the Water. Yeah, very, very important material. But I think any STEM class has like a really high potential of the subject being boring and tedious, and Dan described them as exciting and fun. And because of that, Dan is now considering becoming a tutor. Dan showed these projects to his friends as well and inspired them. And that actually brings to mind the quote we have on the wall here, which is, "A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops." Please join me in congratulating Professor Goldsmith on his instructional excellence. Thank you so much.
Wow, let me just suck this up for a second. This recognition, yeah, it's like, wow, this is great. Yeah, so what is it that I live for as a teacher? And I can tell you that I'll show you. This is what I live for. It's yes. Yeah. That is the moment. Like, let me explain. First, I'm teaching electronics, which involves every day we're building circuits, and circuits can be really, really finicky things, and they they usually won't reveal their problems until it's, like 10:15 p.m., something like that. It's just, you use your logical methods to deduce where the problem is, but it still requires very sharp eyes. There's a problem somewhere in this area, but is it that wire is not quite plugged in, or look at this, there's something else not quite right. So it's a combination of logical deduction plus like I say, sharp eyes and a little bit of luck. So it's always there's always in my class, it's true that there's quite a bit of head scratching going on, and then a lot of real celebration when you do triumph over a circuit, and so it brings me a lot of joy. So thank you again very much for this recognition. It feels really good. So thank you so much. Okay.
Once again, congratulations and thank you so much. Our SLO Campus Vice President, Mauro Rodrigues, will present our next honoree.
Thank you, Paul. I would now like to ask Professor Stephen Hendricks to join me on the stage, please. Professor Hendricks teaches in the Cuesta College Biology Department. He has taught at Cuesta for 11 years. In answer to the question, what has this faculty member done that is above and beyond normal expectations, an AGS member wrote that Professor Hendricks, quote, always impresses me with all his passion toward teaching and the environment. Another member writes, Steve is obviously very passionate about his subject and cares about his students. That student goes on to mention how Professor Hendricks maintains a positive, joke-filled learning environment for his students. Being one of many on this stage looking for their passion, I feel I can speak for us in saying that we deeply appreciate you showing us some of yours. In answer to the question, in what way has this faculty member influenced your success as a student at Cuesta College, an AGS member wrote, he has helped encourage me to follow my dreams and has given me advice about my major of choice, which has helped me tremendously. Now, this last part hits me right in, I don't know if this is a thing, but like my math stomach, once having been deathly afraid of it. The student writes how they had, quote, a bit of aversion towards math and science classes, but Professor Hendricks has helped me in changing their views, or has helped in changing their views towards them. So please join me in congratulating Professor Stephen Hendricks on an instructional excellence.
Awesome, I really appreciate that. He should know that the class we're talking about is environmental biology, which I like to call Tree Hugger 101. So I really appreciate this honor. As the students in my class know, this has been a really tough semester for me as my father passed away. He actually taught here for 30 years, and he taught me a lot about what it meant to be a teacher and to be a good role model and inspiration for students. I took a lot of that from him. And to be honest, teaching was a great escape for me. It's been a really hard semester, and to be able to walk into that classroom and literally sort of enter into another world where I got to influence students and be a part of their lives was really a savior for me this semester, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that. I feel very lucky to have a job that I love, and I truly do love teaching so much. It's an amazing place to be able to walk into a classroom and be able to interact with so many students and to be part of their life during a very short step in their lifelong journey, and who knows where they're going to end up. And I truly feel blessed to be able to interact with these students the way I am each semester. I'm a little sad when I don't get to hear from them anymore. I wish I would get more of those Post-it notes, whoever that was. That would be fantastic too. Somebody one time told me that laughter is the medicine that helps learning go down. And I think that is so true if you can keep your students, I don't want to say entertained, but at least interested in your class, at least long enough to where they could be engaged in what's going on, and then hopefully learn something that they can carry with them the rest of their life. And that's really my main goal. Especially in environmental biology, I feel like I'm trying to teach students not only to be better people, but also to help improve the world in the future. And I really feel that environmental biology is very important for a lot of students to learn for that reason. So I really am honored by this. Who would have thought that a biology student 27 years ago now at Cuesta College who had a bit of a stutter would come back to be honored with such a great thing. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Congratulations once again, Professor Hendricks. I would like to welcome back our President Bailey Passmore.
Thank you, Mauro. I would like to ask Professor of Music Marcy Irving to join me on the stage. Professor Irving teaches in the Cuesta College Music Department. She has taught at Cuesta College now for 11 years. Marcy and her approach to American popular music has reminded me how much I love music and helped me find my way back to a variety of music styles. My Spotify is way more diverse now, and my appreciation of music has truly grown in this short time. She knows her music appreciation class is a general ed class, and most people in it are not music majors. She's been teaching the class for so long, she's heard every song 1,000 times. Despite all of that, you can still see her love of music and of teaching shining through every day. With every Elvis hip swing, Beatles acid trip, or Bob Dylan yelp, you can see her passion for music, and you start to understand the impact on their world and industry these musicians actually made. Marcy is one of those rare professors who is comfortable with the students knowing she's a human and understands that we are too. She offers compassion in exchange for honesty, which allows her students to trust her and the learning environment. And to relax, something we don't often get to do when we're focused on college applications and making sure we get the classes we need to move on. She's not afraid to acknowledge the silliness of some of it. She knows not all of us are going to love Bob Dylan's voice or be inspired by folk music, but she does a phenomenal job getting students to understand the effects like these musicians had on our country at the time. I don't like folk music. I do not like folk music.
It's okay.
But I do see how it developed into a raw commentary on what was happening politically, and I can see how the music of the 20th century gives you hints as to what was going on at the time. History has never been my subject, but I understand it a lot better now thanks to Marcy's class. Please join me in congratulating Professor Marcy Irving on her instructional excellence.
Wow, thank you, Bailey. A lot of the students don't like Bob Dylan. I've tried my best, but what can you do? I am thrilled by this. Thank you so much. I love teaching. I love the students. I teach very early in the morning, and it's always, I wake up grumpy, but by the time I get to class and have interacted with the students, then it's okay. So I'm good for the day. I so appreciate the students showing up so early in the morning. You're in the 8 o'clock class, so it's not a bad way to start off the day listening to rock and roll in the morning. I'm so blessed to have this job. I'm an opera singer in real life, but I got the job singing, teaching rock and roll, and it's a joy because the students love it. The students love the music. My favorite thing is to hear a student say that their Spotify is expanded, or they have gone home and talked about the Beatles with their parents, or they appreciate a new musician that they never liked before, or even that they've heard Bob Dylan now, but they don't like him. That's okay, as long as they know who he is and what he did. So I have the best job in the world, and just thank you to all my students and to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Irving, and once again, congratulations. Our Activities Director, Wei Shu, will present the next honoree.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Betty. I would like to ask Dr. Patrick Lan to join me on the stage, please. Dr. Lan teaches in the Cuesta College and Physical Science Department and Astronomy Department. He has taught at Cuesta College for 14 years. In answer to the question, what has this faculty member done that is above normal and expectations, and AGS member wrote, two things come to mind immediately. First, when we do in-class multiple choice questions, he always includes an I don't know option. Dr. Lan encourages us to use it when we need to and not to feel bad if we don't know something. He then uses this information to help students and explain what they don't understand. He goes out of his way to make sure we understand the course material, and he does so very kindly. Second, Dr. Lan devoted several class periods before the midterm to some of the best in-class review I have ever had. We saw many questions on the midterm similar to ones he had already helped us understand in the review sessions. In answer to another question, in what way has this faculty member influenced your success as a student at Cuesta College? One AGS member wrote, and I love taking his class. He has a lot of resources. His blog and reading assignments are essential and don't pass up easy points that really help you out overall. He taught differently with a reverse class where you read at home and then did the homework in class. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Lan on his instructional excellence.
Thank you. I just want to share what I enjoy in teaching astronomy, because every semester I take the students on the ride of their lives. So I teach them how to find things in the night sky. I take them to the other planets. We also have to talk about why Pluto's not a planet, because that's important, and how stars live and die and their place in the universe. And at the end of the semester, they all come up to me and they say, thanks for making us feel really small and unimportant. And I'm thinking, yes, I did my job. And that makes me feel big and important. And then there's a little bit of letdown because they're gone, but the next semester I get to do it all over again. And so that's something I really enjoy, is not just doing this for a bunch of students, but I get to do this semester after semester after semester. And it's always fun. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Leone, our AGS ICC representative. Please.
Thank you, Wei. I would like to ask Professor Leone to join me on stage now. Professor Leone teaches in the Cuesta College English department. He is the chair. He has taught at Cuesta College for 18 years now. When starting Mr. Leone's class, I can recall him telling us something to the extent of, if you're going to come to my class to sleep, I will ask you to go home, rest up, and be ready to learn for the following class. Yet we never had this problem. Students were always in tune with the lectures and readings in his class. What was great about Mr. Leone is how he gives us plenty of room for improvement. This helps students significantly. He sees how some students struggle, so he works with them to better their comprehension. I went into his class thinking that I was a natural and I could be analytical, breaking down text for all possible meanings. I was wrong. He showed me the flaw in the thinking and what it was that was wrong. He grades everything that is tuned in and takes his time writing personal feedback to each question. Sometimes I was not necessarily wrong, but the text was not being torn open as much as it could be. He does a great job at showing students the analytical side of things, like how to think critically about anything that they might come across. His over 2 hours of class would fly by. The first half of class would be lecture, and the second half of class was mostly a variety of group activities for collaboration. Mr. Leone was always there to support and show me more. On my first few assignments and papers, I can recall getting C's and D's. This was due to not analyzing the words of quotes from different readings to their potential with the ambiguity of literature. He stuck by me and pushed me to strive, learn, and succeed. I got more and more comfortable with reading, writing, and understanding in his class. After long hours of work and dedication, I pulled through with an A. I learned a lot from this teacher, and he is very great. Technical difficulties. There we are. Please join me in congratulating Professor Leone and his instructional excellence.
So the picture that is up on the screen is something I made a special request to put it up here. Because in honoring me, and I'm humbled by this honor, it really brings to mind why we do what we do, right up here. These students. Lupe inspires me on a daily basis. And the fact, just this morning, I had a student who was despairing of the end of the semester, really struggling with a paper, and we talked for a while. And I took that opportunity to just thank him. And then he said, well, why are you thanking me? I should be thanking you. And I go, no, we just spent some time taking you from despair to a place of success. You know what you want to do with this paper. You know where you're going. You're excited about it. You're passionate about it. And you're ready to, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but you're ready to leave this room right now and go write it, right? And he goes, well, kind of. And I go, well, that's why I do what I do. This group right up here, Lupe was part of a presentation, well, more like I guess a performance, a dramatic reading of, I believe it was Act 5, I think? I think it was Act 5 of Hamlet, where everybody dies. And what Lupe and his team decided to do is to make it a celebration. And that's one of the things I asked the students to do, is to put the play in a different context so that they understand the play, so that they all actually embody some of the characters. And look at Lupe up there with his costume and the rest of the team. This was right before they gave a fantastic reading of Hamlet, after which we had a panel discussion about the play, and it's one of my favorite things to do in my introduction to literature class, because it's the end of the semester. They are now applying all of those skills, all of the tools that I've attempted to teach over the course of this semester, not to indoctrinate them into becoming English majors, but so that they end up having an understanding, intrinsic understanding of the text that they're reading. But also, I see literature as simply compassion machines. They're able to become more compassionate beings by embodying these characters. And moments like this are just why I do what I do. Lupe's one of the reasons why I do what I do. So thank you very much for this honor. Thank you, Lupe, for nominating me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Mr. Leone. Next, I would like to ask, I lost it, 1 second. AGS historian Jenny Martinez to the stage.
Thank you, Lupe. I would now like to ask Professor Amanda Lombard to join me on stage. Professor Lombard teaches in Cuesta College Mathematics Department. She has been teaching at Cuesta College for 4 years. Amanda's approach to math is anything but typical, and as a result, her students are given a bright and inviting classroom where learning advanced algebraic concepts isn't a daunting task, but one to look forward to. For a non-math lover such as myself, the idea of looking forward to a math class was something that I never thought possible. In fact, I didn't take my math placement test at Cuesta for over a year because I was dreading being in a math class again. Man, was I missing out. Amanda has done the impossible. She made me excited about math. Professor Lombard ensures her students know she cares about their success. She's always willing to bend her teaching style or change lectures to suit everyone's needs. And she makes sure that before moving on, all students thoroughly understand the topic being discussed. This flexibility has been crucial in mine and others' successes in her classroom. She goes above and beyond by creating detailed note outlines that provide special instructions and emphasize important topics. They also sometimes come with songs that Amanda performs for us. We might forget the concept, but we never forget the performance, which helps us retrieve the information later on. Through colorful and well-thought-out lectures and lesson plans, Amanda's love for math shows through and is contagious to her students. She does an excellent job with incorporating different methods to suit all learners and always manages to teach us something new about the history of math. Our classroom is vibrant and full of energy, with students asking questions and attempting problems confidently, without a worry of judgment, because Amanda empowers her students. Even mistakes are made into lessons, and students are thanked for bringing up a learning opportunity. Amanda isn't just an excellent instructor, but also a great role model. She teaches difficult concepts with ease, and her calm, self-assured attitude projects onto her students. You can often hear her repeating to us, "You can do hard things," and she's right. Professor Lombard has pushed myself and other students to give more and try harder in math, not because we have to, but because we're motivated to do hard things. Her humor, wit, and willingness to be involved in her students' success make Amanda an excellent professor, and I'm thankful to have been her student. Please join me in congratulating Professor Amanda Lombard for her instructional excellence.
Wow, that was really sweet. I'm incredibly blessed to be here, just to teach here. Like everyone before me has said, I actually believe I was born to be a math teacher, and I've explored I did the whole junior high thing, and then I did the high school thing, and now here I am at Cuesta, and it's just the best place to be because of students like Jenny. I'm so impressed by their drive, and even, hope she doesn't mind me saying this, even if they didn't maybe know what they wanted to do maybe in high school, they get it together and they work so hard. And that's why I say you can do hard things, because I'm always so impressed by what you can get out of them. When you're excited about it, you can get them excited about it, even if it is algebra, right? And even if it requires a song, it's probably not as good as the songs you listen to, Marcy. I'm sorry, they're not, I promise. But I really do love being at this level because you see their passion starting to come out, whether it's for math or for some other subject. You see them starting to shape their lives and their future, and I love being a part of that, and I feel so incredibly blessed. So I'm impressed by all of these students, and putting this on is such an honor, so thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you. So sweet.
Please welcome AGS Treasurer Valerie Philbin to the stage to introduce our next honoree.
Thank you, Jenny. I would like to ask Professor Aaron Rodrigues to join me on stage. Aaron has been teaching in Cuesta College's Political Science Department for 26 years. Alpha Gamma Sigma would like to commemorate Aaron on his dynamic ability to clarify political strategy, explain the relationship between the creators of laws and the laws themselves, as well as how people of this country are personally affected by legislation. As written in Aaron's nomination, the AGS member stated, "While taking his class, I became more informed and mindful on the importance of participating in my country's political arena. I now want to vote and actively support organizations that I believe are the best representations of my ideas and beliefs for society. I've also gained an understanding and logical need and a personal fulfillment to understand the laws in which I and everyone else live under." My favorite component to Aaron's class was his vibrant, well-discussed, relevant, knowledgeable, and useful lecture material and style. Aaron never bored you with dry, repetitious discourse that you just read in the assigned textbook reading. You came to class to get much more. Aaron presented more facts, more actors involved with policy decisions, greater expansion on the history of the problems or resolutions created by the laws in place. He also offered understanding to who was or is affected by the legislation approval. Laws define how we live and most of the time define how certain groups of people get to live. This sociological perspective in his class, along with the additional readings by Jonathan Kozel and Alex Kotlowitz, really hit home for me. And it was what elicited my personal response to get engaged with my government on a local and national level. In reading this nomination here tonight for Aaron, I hope we can all agree that it is of the utmost importance that we pay attention and take advantage of our privilege in living in a democracy and not to overlook the topic of politics apathetically. But Aaron is also standing here before us tonight for his special leadership and lasting success at Cuesta College. I would like to again quote Aaron's nomination, explaining how he influenced success at Cuesta College. The AGS student stated, "In learning about the political biography of the United States, I also learned the history of the US, because you can learn a lot about a particular time in history when you see that what is on the political agenda and who has the power in a particular time in history to define the problems and how the problems are to be resolved. So with that knowledge learned, I was able to directly apply it in my history, sociology, and philosophy classes. It has been impressive to follow the interconnected relationship of all these subjects at school and in reality. So thank you, Aaron. Please join me in congratulating Professor Aaron Rodrigues on his instructional excellence.
Thanks again. I love what I do. As Valerie mentioned, one of my passions is to bring issues to the awareness of my students that society, for whatever reason, ignores on purpose. I have my students read 2 different books. What's it like to be homeless in this country? Living in a public housing project. How does our society view these marginalized groups? Because I want my students to understand that awareness is one of the first steps in correcting what I see, in my opinion, some social injustices. And secondly, I want my students to become civically aware that government at the national, state, local level really, really does impact their lives. And lastly, I just want to thank Cuesta College for giving this opportunity. I always tell my students in the last couple of years, as my career starts to wind down, it's been a privilege to impact the lives of my students. And every once in a while, I'll get an email or a letter or a text that says, "You made a difference." And I think as teachers, as educators, I think if we can make a difference in the lives of our students, then I think we've chosen the proper profession. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Aaron. Guests of Teacher Appreciation Night, let's join together once more to welcome our president of Alpha Gamma Sigma, Bailey Passmore, up to the stand.
Thank you, Valerie. I would like to ask Mr. Nabil Zakaria to join me on the stage. Yep. Nabil works in the Cuesta College Student Success Center in the Upper Division Math Lab and has worked with tutorial services here going on 11 years. Hey, Nabil. The Thursday following our honoree selection, I walked into work in the math lab only to have Nabil turn to me and ask, "What's your last name?" Incidentally, our club advisor had listed me as the person who had nominated him, and he was not happy about it. He spent the next 10 minutes and a few more throughout the day asking me why I did it and staring at the invitation, still unsure if he was going to accept. He did. Ultimately, I told him he didn't have to attend and then acted in my official capacity as president by tattling to his boss, who responded exactly as I had hoped. The reason I wanted to share this story with you tonight is it paints a perfect picture of who Nabil is and why I'm so grateful to be the one to present him with this honor. As my immediate supervisor in the math lab, I have myself gone to him for advice on how to respond to certain situations in the tutoring realm and in my own math career. I have seen Nabil counsel many a teary-eyed student and tutor through their encounters with math. I have seen his patience extend past what I could personally display and listened to him remind students of concepts I had long since forgotten. He's as quick with a joke as he is with sincerity, and that's rare in our field. In the spring of this year, that's when I began my career as a tutor in the math lab, tutoring only statistics. Without any formal experience tutoring, my confidence was very low. Despite having done well in a notoriously confusing class with a notoriously difficult professor, one question I couldn't answer was enough to make me doubt whether I really knew what I was talking about. I was surrounded by veteran tutors, all of whom could tutor calculuses 1, 2, and 3 in linear analysis, the highest math offered at Cuesta. Needless to say, I was very intimidated. I didn't know if I was right for tutoring, and I started to doubt my choice of an engineering major. Fast forward to this semester, and Nabil has come to me 2 times with questions and clarifications on specific conceptual aspects of statistics. My Calculus 2 study group has had the highest test average our professor has seen on the most difficult sections covered. I know now that math is not a one-man show. Every student and every tutor before me has struggled in the same way that I do. I know that we all forget our algebra and our pre-calculus, and most importantly, I know it doesn't mean that I'm dumb, bad at math, forgetful, or a bad tutor. I owe the confidence I have to continue tutoring and learning advanced mathematics to 2 people, and Nabil is one of them. Without his patience, lighthearted demeanor, and constant pursuit of knowledge, I would not be the successful student or tutor that I am today. I would also like to point out the row of students sitting along the wall who I have personally seen you tutor constantly throughout the semester. Hi, guys. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Nabil Zakaria on his outstanding work as an instructional aide.
It is such an honor to be here and to be nominated for this great and remarkable award. As Bailey mentioned, I have never thought or being recognized or honored for what I do at the Student Success Center. I just love my job, and I love to help students improve their grades, pass their classes, and succeed with their education. For some students, I only love to help them stop being hate math or be afraid or intimidated by it. The only reward that I look forward to is when students come to me with big smiles on their faces and look very happy to tell me that they aced their tests or they did good in their exams. Or for some of them, sometimes they see me at the store or somewhere else and thank me for helping them pass their classes and improve their grades. I'm not actually looking forward for students to thank me, but they do it anyway, so. I just want to see the look of joy and happiness on their faces when they tell me that. Knowing that I am helping and contributing to students' success is good enough for me to keep me going. I know students appreciate what we do for them at the Student Success Center. They're not shy about it, they tell us that all the time. But I always think about myself as just one player on a very good team that is dedicated and devoted to help students succeed with their education. Again, thank you so much for selecting me to receive such a fantastic award. It is an honor that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I would like to take a moment now and give a special thank you to a couple people who helped make tonight a success. Thank you to Dr. Stork for attending tonight's event and helping us honor these outstanding instructors. Richie Bermudez from the Advancement Office and his team for their help with technology, photographs, and promotion of Teacher Appreciation Night. Thank you, Richie. The Cuesta College Jazz Trio for joining us tonight and providing great live music. Thank you, guys. I would also like to give a special thank you to my executive cabinet for working hard this semester throughout their busy schedules to plan tonight's event. Thank you, guys. And to our advisor, Dr. Gilbert, for keeping us on track and helping us do our best. Finally, I would like to once again congratulate this year's honorees and thank you all for your hard work that you do for us students. Congratulations, guys. If all the honorees could please once again join me on the stage for a group picture, we would appreciate it. Everyone else, thank you for coming tonight. Please enjoy the food. Thank you.